All right, welcome to the Connect Podcast.
Yes.
I am Cole Phillips.
This is Bobby.
You are Bobby, and we're going to be doing a lot of fun things today. We're going to mix it up. We sometimes we're teaching, sometimes we're I don't know. We do all kinds of things though. But today we're going to have some fun. Actually, we're calling this "God's Got Our Back," and He does. You know, we've been seeing that. We're going to kick off today by just letting you in on what God has been doing just over the past 7 days. Like, that has been almost unimaginable, unexplainable.
Yeah.
I was gone for a week on a little trip, and man, while I was gone, I missed so much. So I wanted you to talk about what happened last Wednesday night
of worship.
Yeah.
It was so amazing. We had over 700 people in the building, and the worship, everybody was raising their voices, raising their hands. You could feel the Holy Spirit moving just in that time. It was a powerful night of prayer, a powerful night of worship, a powerful time of community. We took communion together. We had a time of prayer together. And then we were outside for about an hour, hour and a half, beating the heat with water slides and food.
Yeah, I didn't hear a lot about the pulled pork sandwiches. Was that? Did you have a sandwich?
5 of them. 5 of them. They were amazing. They were a little bit small. You know.
Yeah.
2 is about the normal serving.
You know, I think I
It
did.
was great,
I did when I was on my trip, and I was thinking about the church, and we were eating, and I got a pulled pork sandwich, and it was I was the only one that really enjoyed my meal at that particular moment. You know, that restaurant, because I got the pulled pork sandwich.
Yeah.
It was good. But there were we had overflow, right?
Yes.
Overflow in the lobby.
That was the first time we've ever had overflow at a night of worship, where we had to set, not only did we set seats up in the back of the worship center to make more room, but we had about 20 seats in the lobby.
Yeah.
And we had them full there too. It was amazing. Our team did a great job. They were very fluid and flexible and rolling with the moments, and everyone was on the same page. It was powerful. It was so good to see, so encouraging.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And did you say there were 2 baptisms?
2 baptisms.
Yes. And these 2 students had powerful testimonies.
So yeah, that's how this. Are you aware that's how the service started? We started off. Jackson, he comes up on stage and he says, "We overcome the devil by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony." And we've got 2 great testimonies to kick off the night right now from these amazing students. We want you to hear it. And it was jaw dropping. It was powerful. They did a phenomenal job. They read their came
own?
up in front of everybody, read their testimony, and like the band came in behind them, and we just launched into worship.
Okay. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So that was Wednesday, and then
it feels like a month ago.
Yeah. Man, and then Sunday morning we continued the Jesus Overall series. And we are seeing incredible, like technically speaking, the weekend before school starts, a lot of people want to take like the last hurrah, last trip of the summer, and go out of town or do something. So the fact that we saw basically more people here on Sunday than we have, that's the most we've seen in several weeks, and it's been a lot, So combined between the Buda campus, San Marcos campus, there were 2,000 people at church on Sunday. Yeah, and even more baptisms. So I think our baptism count for the year so far.
5 on Sunday.
5 on Sunday. We have
Sunday.
208 is the count that we're at right now for baptisms.
That's amazing.
It's really awesome. I talked about Jesus' victory over sin and death, and I didn't really get to talk a lot about the death part because it's just morbid. Nobody, we talk about death today, right? But I did say that the early Christians laughed in the face of death, and that's such an opposite response to the way we usually deal with death. And it's been said you're not really ready to live until you're ready to die. And yet we try to really gloss over it. I think that's what a lot of the lockdown stuff was about. We try to mask death and avoid death and the reality of death. I'm sorry to get so like morbid, but this is kind of fun. There's an app, and I just looked it up. It's available. It's got tens of thousands of users on the App Store, and it's called We Croak. And it says, remember, you're going to die. Don't forget you're going to die. So people download this app. It says age, 4 years old and over is the recommended age.
What is it?
Health and fitness. 5 times a day, random times a day, it sends you a notification reminder that reminds you that you're going to die. Now that sounds morbid, right? And I'm not recommending this app. It sounds really weird to me, but there's like notifications. This one is from a quote. This is from Jean de La Fontaine. Death never takes a wise man by surprise. He's always ready to go. Listen to this one. Death is only the end if you assume the story is about you. So lots of, just food for thought, thinking about the reality of death. And here's some others. The grave has no sunny corners. So the idea is, this is actually, the purpose of it is to help you improve your happiness, because you're enjoying life.
Yes.
You're enjoying, you're living in the moment. You're you're embracing every day as a gift from God, right? And so we know that for the Christian, now death has no sting. And if you are in Christ, you're living in eternity right now. It's an unending from the moment you're born again. You have eternal life. Yeah. There's going to be a moment when we'll pass from this life to even greater.
That's incredible.
Life.
Did you know that have you seen me wear this?
Yeah. What is that?
That's it says memento mori.
Yeah.
That's the Latin phrase that means, it says, remember one day you will die.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing on the back. I've got some special things marked on there, but I wear it every day just to remind myself of how fragile life is. I think that I've gotten so used to or insulated from death that I kind of live with, in the concept of time, like I'm immortal. Like my time is just forever. And it really forces me to slow down and enjoy the little things, be present.
So you're telling me you didn't just put that necklace
I've been wearing
on
this
just because we were talking about this today?
No, I didn't even see that. I have been wearing this for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
That's on the back. It says go heavy. So it's like working. I got some workout numbers on the back.
Yeah.
And it reminds myself that I'm not promised tomorrow. I'm promised right now. Make the most of it. My favorite quote, I guess, from a Stoic would be Marcus Aurelius. And he said on the topic of time, you might leave the earth right now. You might leave this life right now. Let that determine what you say, think, and do.
Yeah. What would your last words be? What would your last actions be?
Yeah.
And so we
it
live
puts urgency into what you're doing right now.
Live like we'll die tomorrow. Die knowing we'll live forever.
Yep. I think we, if we're honest with ourselves, we are rushing towards death. Every day is another day closer to it. So don't rush through what's important right now.
Yeah.
Live with urgency and make the most out of every moment, especially when it comes to the Lord.
Yeah, I was walking. So we went to a beach, and I was walking from the beach, and some teenage boys were walking, and they were talking about something about time and how long something was, and something along those lines. And I just threw myself into the conversation. And what are you guys talking about? And I said, you think about life. I just went really deep, but I said, like when you're 3 years old, that third year of life is a third of your life so far. So it seems like that year lasts forever. But the more you live, the shorter percentage of your life each day, each hour, becomes. And so again, life seems to speed up. So you enjoy, you live every moment.
Yeah. I mean, when I was in high school, a freshman, 4 years away seems like an eternity. Now 4 years seems like...
Yeah. You think back in 4 years.
So fast.
Anyway, we talk about that. We talked about sin. There were some things I wanted you maybe to bring out that, if you could just quickly summarize what you thought needed to be brought out in that sermon on sin and the difference between it being a verb versus a noun.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact numbers that I had looked up, but in the New Testament, it's something like 174 times the word sin is mentioned in the New Testament. I didn't look at the entirety of the Bible, but in the Greek. And out of that,
only 44 are used as a verb.
And 44 times that is used as a verb. So the other, 130 something are used as...
Yes, 130.
As a noun.
Yeah.
So it's not, sin is mentioned more as a person, place, or thing, or something you're born with, than something that we do. And it obviously is something we do. I think we get too focused on the verb sense of sin and not the noun. I thought you did a great job of really bringing out the human condition, that we were born into sin and that we need a savior. It is a new identity. The old man is gone. The new has come because Christ cut that away from you at the cross. And so the moment you put your faith and trust in him, you are a new creation.
So several years ago, People magazine did a thing called a Syndex, where they were trying to index sin and which were the worst and which were okay and kind of which are the worst ones. And they came up, the people actually that were surveyed decided that on average they sinned about 4.6 times a month, which that's taking it really easy on themselves. Because it's more of those social sins that they're like, like cutting somebody off in traffic. That's something that's terrible, and that actually they rated that worse than say living together or something like that.
Yeah.
That's from just a worldly point of view. And so if you go on that, you say, well, I only do it, tick off a few people a month or whatever. Hey man, I've got you beat. I'll tell you that,
And I mean, I've talked to people before that are, justified, like, smoking's not in the Bible.
Yeah.
It's not a sin. And I'm not doing it. It doesn't hurt anybody. I'm just doing it to relax. So I don't sin. You don't want me to be so agitated that I just blow up and I, yell at somebody at work. So I need to go take a little 15-minute smoke break. And I can push back on that and say, well, that's idolatry. You're going to something else before you're going to the Lord. You're putting something else number one and God option number two. That's a sin. Anything that comes before God's a sin. So we're sinning all the time, every day. And I just love the fact that God was like, hey, I want you to sin less and less and less and less as you grow in your relationship with me. But it's not about that. That's a performance-based mindset. It's more of a heart transformation that you need to be saved. You were dead, and now you're alive. And through the Holy Spirit, I can conform you and transform you into...
And set you free.
Yeah.
And, you've heard me talk about the essentials and the non-essentials. Smoking would fall under kind of the non-essentials. So I tell that little joke where I say, people ask, will smoking send you to hell? And I say, no, but it'll make you smell like you've been there. Sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. Let's also talk about Sunday night then, the Connect One dinner.
That was wild.
Which was phenomenal because we did.
What is Connect One?
Well, that's a good question. Connect One is really an entry into the full life of the church, I think. People many times are belongers before they're believers. So you come to the church and, hey, I'm a part of this thing. We want you to be a part of it. But there's something about the power of commitment.
Right.
And that is that, we want to know who's really on board, who has stepped up and said, I'm all in. And so you get that opportunity. You get that opportunity to get to know us better. And it's not really, it's some people think of it as like a ritual or something, just sort of a checking a box. But we don't want that to be seen that way. We want it to be seen as a relational connection that's being made, and it's a door into some further spiritual growth.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's going to lead us into Kickstart that's starting in 2 weeks. And man, it's like a supercharger spiritual growth.
You get to hear from you and your wife about the beginnings of the church.
Yeah.
If you come, you get to hear the story. You get to hear where we're at. We do a lot of celebrating, like we just did, what God's doing in the church right now, but also the future where He's taking us. You get to sit at tables with all the amazing staff here at the church and get to know your church staff and get to connect with them. You get to connect with other people. You get an opportunity to join the team, join the mission.
Well, when we talk about, hey, we had 2,000 people between Buda and San Marcos on Sunday.
Right.
Plus those who were watching online in addition to that. But people don't necessarily want some massive church. That's not what people are looking for. They're looking for community and connection.
Right.
And so you don't have to know everybody in the church, but you need to know some people. So if you need to be known, to know and be known, so that when you walk in, you're not just another face in the crowd.
Right.
And at Connect One, you sit at some small group tables. It just sort of starts. You start connecting with a few people, and getting into that. But we had 85 people at Connect One between Buda and San Marcos. And these people saying, "Hey, I really am ready to get more involved, more connected." And what that means is that our church is ready to take more steps, to do more, to be, to be better. And so, but with all of this growth now that we're talking about, there's some challenges with that, and the biggest challenge is just space. It's just parking and all of this. So I hear about this every Sunday.
Went out. I had a lunch meeting, and our waitress goes, "Pastor Bobby," and I don't even recognize this girl. And she's like, "Hi, I'm so and so," and I was like, "It's so good to see you. What service do you go to?" And she's like, "We usually go to the 10:30, but we've just started going to the 9. Her and her boyfriend." And I said, "Why?" And she goes, "Well, it's like 20 minutes in and out of the parking lot at 10:30. Yeah, and it's not that we don't, love the crowd. We love the crowd. It's just it's very difficult getting in and out. So we started coming to the 9, and I was like, well, that's amazing. Thank you for making that move, that transition. But and funny, I was with one of our parking lot members, one of our parking lot team guys, and that's what we were talking about. What are some of the things that we can do to better our parking? What are some other options around our church that we can utilize so that we can continue to create space, so that we can continue to connect with people and connect them with God on Sunday at 9, 10:30, and noon. So
what are we talking about? We have some ideas on this?
Yeah, we've got some off-site parking options. We've got stuff that we can do short-term, quick fix with shuttles, parking in a couple different off-site locations right here around us, and also uses overflow parking too as well. But we'd probably just take the staff and the key volunteers and park them first, and then make room for all of our first-time guests and everything. But we were also talking about, there's a big field right across the street. Can we talk to the owner of that and see if that's something we can lease for a year? Yeah. And lay down gravel.
What a great idea.
Yeah. So we're trying to just get creative.
Well, we need God's favor, and the tragedy is if somebody, and I'm sure it happens pretty regularly, if people drive up and they say, "I'm not getting in all that," I'm
that's
driving
what we don't
on.
want.
A lot of those people, they may or may not go to another church, So we want to have plenty of space and do whatever it takes. But these are the good kinds of problems to have. But they are challenges. Growing pains. Yeah.
And if you're not growing, it won't hurt.
But we want to celebrate all that God is doing. When God does it, it's worth celebrating. We get to be a part of it. And just wanted to ask you a question, Bobby, to kind of get your to get to know you better, okay? And maybe you'd have a question for me.
Okay.
My question, I think I'll ask you this one. Would you rather bungee jump off of a bridge or skydive from a plane?
Bungee jump off a bridge or skydive from. I think I'd rather skydive.
That's what I was thinking.
I would rather skydive.
That's what I was thinking for sure.
You know me so well.
No, I was thinking for me. I don't know what you would
you
do.
Too?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to do it together?
Not that I'm going to skydive. I'm not sure that I'm ready to do it. But if I had to choose between the two, I want a parachute.
Yes.
I think.
Versus a little rubber band.
Yeah, man, that rubber band. You're putting your trust in whatever it is keeping you from hitting the pavement.
So with a bungee jumping, from what I've seen, they're pushing you off,
mm-hmm.
and you're hoping that the Velcro and the rubber band hold you. At least with parachuting, I've got an expert on my back. He's got a parachute, and he's got a reserve parachute.
Yeah, you might have an extra. So I did know a guy who went to the church who like broke a leg or something like that doing it. You know, even with the person on his back. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's still better than the alternative. Other than the alternative of not jumping out of a perfectly good airplane. Yeah. You know, have you never done it?
I've never jumped out of an airplane. When I was in the military, we were doing the ropes out of the helicopter. So you'd jump out of you'd hold onto a rope, and slide down it out of the helicopter.
Nice. How pretty high?
I don't know, 50, 60, 70 feet probably. Not super high, but when you've got a lot of weight on you, you fall pretty quick. And there's someone coming down really fast right above you.
All right. Well, you have a question for me.
So let me ask you this. Would you rather lead worship in an unfamiliar language or preach without your notes?
I would rather lead worship in an unfamiliar language.
I knew it.
Just because, getting to lead worship and, music is universal. Yeah. Music is universal and it speaks at a deeper level than just the language itself.
I would rather preach without my notes.
I'm sure you would. You
don't want to hear me sing.
But preaching without notes is fine. It's fine. I rely on notes because I was critiqued all the way back to like college and seminary on this. They're like, it's not so important that you get the phrasing just right. It's more of the heart and the passion and the truth behind it. Mm-hmm. But man, I just don't want to leave stuff out that I feel is very important. I don't want to leave it out, and I feel like my brain will glitch, and so it is a crutch. But I've done some,
I would rather preach without notes because I'm terrified of leading worship in a language I don't know any other language.
Well, this is an unknown language, so it would be one you don't know. It would be one you don't know anyway. Language? Let's do one more each, okay?
Okay.
Let me ask you this. This is so good. Let me ask you this deep one. Would you rather live in biblical times and meet Jesus in person, or live today but FaceTime Jesus every day?
That's a tough one. Do I because I feel like I'm going to meet Jesus face to face.
Yeah.
Memento Mori someday soon.
Yeah.
At some point.
Mm-hmm.
So I would prefer to take my time traveling abilities back to like someone like David or Samson.
Okay.
But I would rather go back and see Jesus face to face.
Okay.
Than FaceTime him every day.
I would go. I think I would go for the FaceTime.
You wouldn't want to go back and see how it was?
Yeah, I would. Living in biblical times means giving up so much air conditioning, internet.
First world problems.
It would be
first world problems.
It would be crazy. It would be crazy to live in that time.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, have fun with that. I mean, I'm FaceTiming Jesus every day, so that's great, man. That'd be amazing. Okay, so I asked you that question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got to give you one of mine.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me do this. Would you rather give up soda for a year or dessert for a year?
Dessert would be so easy to give up. I don't care about dessert.
Really?
I'm not a dessert guy.
I was like, yeah, he's gonna go with sodas.
I'm more of a savory than a sweet, except sodas are dessert.
What's your favorite soda?
It's Dr. Pepper for sure.
Wasn't it Coke Zero for a while?
Of the gods of the Lord.
Wasn't it Coke Zero for a while?
Yeah. Okay. So real quick on we may be TMI today, but I grew up, on Dr. Pepper, drinking Dr. Pepper only all of my life, drinking Dr. Pepper, and that's all I would drink. And then at some point I switched, and I couldn't even stand the smell or the taste of diet drinks, of Diet Coke. Well, I got addicted to Diet Coke, and I was drinking about 140 ounces a day of Diet Coke. There's nothing diet about Diet Coke, and
nothing diet about 140 ounces.
And you don't, but it still feels empty. Like it doesn't fill you up like a soda does, like a calorie soda. So with a Dr. Pepper, you can nurse a Dr. Pepper all day long, or I can. And so anyway, and then I got to where I was sick of it. I couldn't stand it anymore. And so now I drink a variety of drinks, but usually most days I will have like a can of Dr. Pepper. Not every day, but.
So you're going to keep the sodas, give up the desserts. You don't really eat them anymore. You're already living this. I would give up the sodas and eat the desserts.
Yeah.
I would drink.
So what's your favorite dessert?
Anything cheesecake.
Okay. Yeah. I love cheesecake. It's good.
Yeah.
But I could do without it. Okay. All right. We're going to shift.
Speaking of Coke really quickly,
okay.
I saw this YouTube short. For what it's worth, it said that there is cola, I guess it's the coca or whatever that's in cola, is a palate cleanser. And that's what makes it so dangerous. Because every time you drink the Coke or the Diet Coke or whatever has the Coca product in it, it cleanses the palate. So it makes every bite taste so much more savory and tasteful and flavorful. So you keep eating more and more and more. It's actually like a food hack. That
I think that's the reason. Yeah,
they
push
with
that.
The burger or the fries.
Yeah, they push that at the movie theater.
You'll eat more.
So you eat more popcorn. And of course the popcorn has the salt. It just all is a cycle.
Anyways.
All right. So we're gonna go to some current news, news that I saw that I wanted to talk about that I thought was interesting, and one of them is that a Chat GPT AI says that God exists necessarily and logically. So here's the story: Alex O'Connor, who is known online as the Cosmic Skeptic, and he's atheist. He's an atheist. He's a pretty smart guy and seems to be a good guy, but godless. And he had a conversation with Chat GPT about what's called the argument from contingency, and that's the idea that everything either depends on something else for existence, or it exists by its very nature. And if everything depended on something else, then nothing would exist. So there must be something that is a necessary being that exists by its very nature. That there has to be, because everything else depends on something else for existence. And so Chat GPT reasoned step by step, and not even addressing, that this was going to be a conversation about God, but Chat GPT reasoned that the universe had a beginning. And of course, scientists come up with different theories of how everything began, but usually we go back to this idea of the Big Bang. And so that's what science would say. And so
I believe there was a Big Bang. I think when God said, "Let there be light,"
bang.
It happened.
Yes, exactly.
That was a Big Bang.
So basically the universe since the universe had a beginning, it's not eternal, and therefore it must have had a cause outside of itself. Another way we've talked about this, Bobby, is we've said, that we, for everything to exist, we believe there was a miracle, and that is God spoke it into existence.
Right.
But man, for everything to exist without God, that would take miracle after miracle after miracle. You'd have to believe more in miracles atheist than as a theist. So you'd have to believe that the universe came to exist
Right.
out of nothing. Well, that's simply impossible, right? But following the facts and the logic, AI concluded that a necessary being necessarily exists, and that the most common name for that being is God. And so when asked if that meant it was a fact that God exists, ChatGPT said yes, based on just the logic, okay? Just using logic. And so AI wasn't saying Yahweh, the God of the Bible, exists specifically, but the fact that there is a God is a product of logic, of not of checking your brains at the door. And so
because the argument there is, you're not if you believe in God, you're dumb. You're not smart at all. You're a low IQ individual who has to put your faith in something supernatural because your brain can't equate all of the science, can't hold all. You're not smart enough to see what really happened. That's funny because when I preached a couple weeks ago, I brought up one of the. I guess he might be the world's smartest person.
Yeah.
But he might be self-touting that. I don't know.
Yeah. It's hard to know.
Young Hoon Kim.
Yeah.
And he's talking about all over X and Twitter that there is a God, Jesus, it's 100% real. Like, there is only one truth, and it's simple as 1 + 1 = 2, and it's Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Smartest man in the world is saying the same thing.
Yeah. I was just listening to Pastor Doug Wilson, who was being interviewed on CNN, and the interviewer was saying, so you want there to be a theocracy? And he said, well, it's all theocracy. It just depends on who Theo is. So is it the God of the Bible, or is it some other person? This is true in your life. You know, it's not that when people reject God, they end up putting something else in the place of God, whether it's self or something else, right? So
is this a new video? Is this recent?
Yeah, I believe so.
I haven't seen this. I know the YouTuber, but I was watching one the other day, and I've watched a couple, but it was talking about the new ChatGPT. I think it's like on version 4 or something. 5. How much more knowledge it has than ChatGPT 4, and like the illustration was like this little quarter versus like the size of a beach ball. That's how much more powerful and how much more reasoning and understanding and logic the new version is than the old one. And it was pretty amazing, but also terrifying just to like be like, this thing's so smart. It said that the new ChatGPT can ace any medical test out there or any law test out there in like 5 seconds. It will pass any test presented to it in 5 seconds and get a perfect 100 on. That's how quick it is. So it's growing. I guess my understanding of it, it's growing with all this information and knowledge, and yet it comes down to this one conclusion.
Yeah,
that there is a God. It's taking everything.
Well, and that's the comfort. Okay, so behind all of that, if we're talking about AI, ChatGPT, and you're like, this is all super spooky, and I don't want to think about it. Yeah. Well, the comforting thing and the reassuring thing is, look, it's not God. God is God, and God is still bigger than all of this, right? So this knowledge is just, like man-made knowledge, right? And so it knows all of those things, but we have to, it's here. You can't put the genie back in the bottle, and so now we've got to figure out how do we live with this. In a way that's ethical, that is, that we're perhaps using it, if we do, and not allowing it to use us.
Yeah, I would say, make sure it's serving you. You're not serving it. You're using it, not serving it. Have you seen that stuff about how AI is going to start taking over the job market?
Yeah. So
automating everything.
Yeah.
I think that's what terrifies me more.
But that's been the process of the growth of technology over the past, however long.
It can't take over. It can't take over your job. That's for sure.
Well, it can't, because we need the human touch. We need people, as I like to say, people with skin on. Right? That's just so important. So back to this thing, and just kind of the last thought I want to present on this, and that is that when you're sharing your faith with someone, it's good to know, one, to have that assurance, like this is not some wacky belief that I have, but this is something that is verifiable. It's something that makes sense, and it can really bridge a gap of saying, hey, it can open doors for conversations about God. Faith isn't blind faith. I say it's not a blind leap of faith, but it is a small step of faith into the light that we've been given. It's faith and reason cooperating together. And so faith and reason are not at odds with each other. They actually work together. All right, I got one more fun thing to talk about in the news, and that is, this is in my wheelhouse, unfortunately.
So music?
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing that I love, it's just feeds my soul, and that is music, and particularly I love Christian music, okay? Yeah. So first up, I want to talk about Forrest Frank. Forrest Frank, if you haven't heard of him, he is a Dove Award winning artist, and he has a song on
Your Way's Better.
Yeah, Your Way's Better is on the Billboard Hot 100 charts for mainstream.
And it's gone viral.
Yeah, and really TikTok is the way that hits are made now. So, but he was riding at his house outside on a skateboard, and he fractured. He just busted it. Just, if you've seen the video,
I haven't seen this.
You haven't? I wish I could show it.
I've heard about it. I didn't see the video.
He hit like a, like if you're on the sidewalk, and then there's sort of just like there was a little flower bed or something like that he just hit, went up, and just back on his back.
Didn't he break his back?
He fractured his L3 and his L4 vertebrae. He was told, and he got the x-rays, MRIs, all of that, but they said it was going to take him about 3 months of healing. Okay, so he, when he broke his back, he was laying in bed, okay, and he's got his laptop in bed and filming and saying, hey, why don't I just write a song about this? He's a good attitude toward it.
Yeah.
And he says, I'm just going to start singing. And he goes, God's got my back. And so he starts singing, and he records, and within...
That's where that song came from?
100%. And 2 or 3 days later, maybe 2 days later, man, it is a hit song. Yeah. God's Got My Back. Then he released... he released another song. Okay, this is like within 2 weeks. That song got millions of streams, but he released another song this past week called Lemonade. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. I was actually told that by a judge when I was going through as a kid. It was my parents' custody battle, and I was frustrated about how it was going, and I was trying to navigate through all that. And she said, boy, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And so that's always kind of stuck with me. But again, another hit. And then it turns out that within like 2 weeks, he woke up on one morning, forgot to put his back brace on, and went and picked up his kid, and then realized, what am I doing?
Really?
And he was healed. So he went he's pain free. He went and got more x-rays, and the doctor said that there were no signs of fractures at all. And so, it was a, medically verified healing that took place in record time, within weeks instead of the months. that it was supposed to take. So pretty incredible,
Wow.
idea of God, and thinking of that, like, this is hard to think through. Like, if you're dealing with chronic pain and you're praying, God, heal me, why would Forrest receive that healing instead of others? And I don't really have a great answer for that. God does what God does, right? But then I also think, because of his platform, perhaps, this is a way that this miracle is being used to encourage so many other people.
So I just had a couple come up to the church while you were out, and they wanted prayer for a physical thing that they were going through. But while we were in the office talking and about to pray, they were telling me testimonies, the power of testimonies. They were telling me of a time when the lady who was asking for prayer a couple years ago she had like an eraser-sized lump in her throat. And it was going to have to be removed for biopsy or whatever. And the second time she went in, it was completely gone. And they had to send like the old scans to new, I guess, doctors to get second and third opinions. Like, is there something there? Yes. Okay, here's today's scans. Is there something there? No. What's your conclusion? And she was like, they were asking me, like, what doctor did you go to? And she was like, I went to the great physician. Like, I've been praying for healing.
Yeah.
And so she was praying, and we were believing for healing for this new thing she was going through. So it's so cool to hear those stories.
Yeah.
I think the question is what you're saying. Why doesn't God heal everybody?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
and the answer is, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. But I guess what I encourage people with is, instead of asking why, I try to shift it and go, what? Like, God, what are you using this for? Yeah. Or what do you want me to do? What's my next? What can I do to grow closer to you? Like Forrest Frank said, I can make a song out of this.
Yeah. I
can use this actually to greater amplify the name of Christ through my trial and my situation. And so I think that, to me, that's the important factor. It's not why is this happening to me, but what would you want me to do? So for me, do you remember when I tore my ankle?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I was playing basketball with a bunch of teenagers up here. Bad idea. This was probably 2016, maybe 2017. And I twisted my ankle and it swelled up really big. And I was thinking I was invincible. And I'm praying and I'm having everybody touch it and anoint it with oil. And it's going to be healed. And for 2 years, I'm hobbling around on this ankle. And I finally go get it checked out. And they're like, buddy, you tore a ligament. We need to do reconstructive surgery. Put that thing back together. You're probably going to be off your feet for 6 to 8 weeks. And I'm just thinking, I can't do this. I've got so much to do. I've got, Romans 10:15. How can they preach if no one is sent?
Yeah.
Like, blessed are the feet who bring the good news. Like, I need my foot, God. And I felt like God was showing me when I was praying, what are you trying to show me right now? Like, your pride is getting in the way. Like, there's a lot of I statements in there. I can't do this. I need to be available. I need to be on my feet. I can't rely on other people to drive me from my house to work and drive me from work back to my house. And I had to submit to that. And what God was teaching me was to slow down and let other people
that's good.
be a part of it with me.
That's good.
And let other people give other people responsibility to take over ministry stuff that I could not take care of in that moment. And it was so much greater of a lesson. I mean, I think God's desire is to heal everyone. But if he doesn't, he's healing something in me.
That's good. That's good. Well, in related news, also in the music world, I don't know if you heard about this one or you saw it in the notes, but David Crowder. Did you hear about David Crowder?
Okay. I mean, I saw your notes, but I didn't read it. Yeah.
So David Crowder, worship artist that got his start
one of the best beards
back in the 90s. Has had just incredible writer, and a lot of fun too. He's just a lot of fun, and he broke his leg, and had emergency surgery that required plates and screws, and he said, he was joking about it as well, and he said it was a basic carpentry for his bones. But and he also said, shout out to Forrest Frank, like I need some of that healing as well. So I don't know if there's going to be a collab.
Write a
I
song,
would like to see him bring in, how they do. They bring in an artist on like
God's Got My Back and Break a Leg.
Yeah, they're going to add a second leg to the tour together. But yeah, things happen, and our attitude makes a big difference.
Yes.
Trusting God, allowing God to use it, whether or not it's a miraculous healing or not, we know God is going to work through it, and we can use what we go through as a testimony of God's faithfulness and of God's goodness.
We do a lot of hospital visits. That's something I like to encourage people when I go up there. Like, this stinks. This is not ideal. This is not what we want. We're praying that God gets you out of here quick. But while you're here, remember, you're a light.
Yeah.
And you have an opportunity to present the light of Jesus to every nurse, every doctor, every
That's what that amazes me about connectors, is they're inviting all those people to the hospital.
And we've seen that. We've seen like, hey, how'd you come? Oh, I met so-and-so in the hospital.
Yeah. Well, if you've got a story about how God has worked through what you've gone through, we want to hear that story.
Yes.
Share it with us, and we want to be able to share that. And it's been fun. We've had a lot of fun today. It's been kind of random, but
we got to know each other a little better.
Hopefully encouraging for you. And if you have friends or people at church, people that aren't listening, be sure to share this with them so they can benefit from it. Just as we hang out together, we've got some more good conversations coming, some more encouragement coming for you. And until then, we'll
be blessed.
See you next time.
Have the best week ever.
Peace.